An ancient Inca rope bridge stretching across a misty canyon, framed by Andean peaks. High in the Peruvian Andes, where mist clings to rocky walls and condors wheel on thermals, there lies a narrow path that links two villages perched precariously on opposite sides of a yawning canyon. Suspended above the Urubamba River by braided cables of ichu grass and warizo vines, the Inca rope bridge stands as a living testament to ingenuity, tenacity, and communal spirit. For centuries, the Quechua Bridge, its Quechua name echoing through time, has carried farmers, herders, and travelers across churning waters below, forging not only a passage between cliffs but a bond between hearts and histories. Walking its swaying deck demands steady resolve. Every step reverberates with the weight of ancestral hands that wove each strand, bound each knot, and sang honor songs as they harnessed unity. Since pre-Columbian times, the ritual of rebuilding this bridge has been more than a practical task. It is a ceremony of trust and an education in respect for nature's grandeur and fragility. Along these highland trails to Machu Picchu and Ollantaytambo, visitors discover that each crossing feels like a sacred test. The peaks of Ozangate and Veronica rise like silent guardians, while the cloud forest hums with hidden life below. Archaeologists study the sustainable design of these rope bridges, admiring how strands of grass transform into structures spanning up to 45 meters. Yet the true power of the Inca Bridge emerges only when an ordinary individual steps onto those heaving vines, listening to each creaking knot, feeling the whistling Andean wind whisper tales of bygone builders. Today, as local communities gather each year in a colorful festival of renewal, they honor a legacy that pulses in every knot and in every heartbeat crossing the chasm. Origins of the Inca rope bridges. Long before the Spanish set foot on Peruvian soil, indigenous artisans of the Inca Empire discovered a method to span dizzying canyons with ropes made from ichu grass. Gathering atop windswept ridges, these skilled weavers selected long stems of hardy pampas grass, drying and bundling them under open skies. They learned to twist groups of grass strands into sturdy cables, fashioning each rope with patterns that balanced tensile strength and flexibility. The earliest chronicles record small suspension paths high in the Andean foothills, where only a handful of travelers dared to venture. Ancient oral histories speak of maiden celebrations at dawn when elders sang hymns to Pachamama and called upon mountain spirits to guard the fibers. Rituals of purification and blessing accompanied every stage of construction, binding physical labor with religious fervor. Village chiefs oversaw teams of dozens, coordinating the hauling of heavy bundles down steep slopes. They anchored main lines in massive stones carved with Inca glyphs, ensuring that every knot would hold its place. Stories passed between generations tell of young apprentices learning this craft as a sacred duty, mastering each twist by hands that never faltered. By connecting such primitive engineering feats to the broader Capac Ñan, the Great Inca Road, these bridges became vital arteries of commerce and communication. Messengers carried quipus along these rope spans, relaying news of harvests, trade bargains, and imperial decrees. Through that network, distant communities felt the pulse of a vast empire, unified by the same braided threads high above rivers below. While many of those original structures have long since vanished, their legacy endures in every subsequent bridge rebuilt in similar fashion. In the story that follows, we explore how this ancient wisdom survives in modern Andean villages and inspires new generations to bind courage and community into every strand. Ancient Inca artisans braid ichu grass ropes to form the first suspension spans. Each autumn, when the sun dips lower against the western peaks, villagers prepare to rebuild the Quechua Bridge in a festival that marries craftsmanship and communal devotion. From far-flung ridges, families trek into the Andes carrying bundles of dried ichu grass, guiding their llamas along narrow trails. Under the direction of a master rope maker known as the Twilca, teams divide into squads responsible for twisting ropes of specific thickness. They stand shoulder to shoulder on rocky terraces, methodically braiding grass fibers into lines that can withstand the weight of 50 adults at once. While hands shape the ropes, the community's musicians drum and chant ancestral melodies, their rhythms guiding the cadence of each looping motion. Women weave colorful bands into the lines, using dyed wool to mark sections that align with calendrical signs or spiritual landmarks. At midday, elders offer coca leaves to the mountain deities, spilling chicha as an offering to seal the craftsmanship with divine blessing. The main cables stretch across the chasm for nearly 150 feet, secured by stone anchors carved in centuries-old Inca designs. For safety, handrails of thinner grass cords are bound above the deck ropes, creating a cradle of support for the brave who will cross. At twilight, torches line the canyon's edge, illuminating silhouettes against a crimson sky as the bridge takes form, swaying gently in the breeze. By the final ritually appointed sunrise, families gather for a communal feast, praising their shared labor with plates of moat, potatoes, and roasted guinea pigs. Scholars traveling the Inca Trail marvel at how this living architecture has survived changes in climate and colonial disruption. Anthropologists note that the bridge's structure is so reliable that dozens of passages occur each hour during the high season without a single failure. In this melding of utility and ceremony, the rope bridge becomes more than a crossing, it is a living archive of cultural identity and solidarity. To the Inca, stone walls and earthen roads symbolized power, but the humble rope bridge embodied something deeper. It was a testament to human connection forged in harmony with nature. Crossing the bridge meant forging a pact with all who walked before and all who would follow, a silent promise to uphold reciprocity and mutual care. Those who crossed prayed for safe passage, gently touching the braided handrail as if greeting a trusted friend. In some celebrations, young warriors performed ceremonial dances mid-span, their vibrant costumes fluttering against the wind, celebrating the union of air and earth. Traders ferried grains, textiles, and metallic offerings across the span, confident that the bridge's living fibers would resist the torrent of mountain storms. Priests consulted quipus to determine the most auspicious day for rebuilding, ensuring alignment with lunar cycles and agricultural calendars. As the empire expanded, countless rope bridges blossomed along the Capac Ñan, linking peoples from Cusco to Quito. Although only fragments of these roads remain today, researchers have uncovered stone foundations and anchor points that once held ropes high above chasms. In the modern era, locals teach youngsters to weave small-scale replicas of the bridge, instilling respect for ancestral practices and environmental stewardship. Environmentalists praise the low-impact nature of grass bridges, applauding how they require no metal or concrete and leave behind no permanent scars. Photographers and filmmakers capture dramatic images at dawn when golden rays shimmer across dewy ropes, transporting viewers into a realm of timeless wonder. Yet, for all its visual allure, the Inca Bridge's true power remains in the stories woven into every strand by hands that entrusted fate to the mountain winds. In witnessing that legacy, we learn that the greatest strengths a community can possess are courage, cooperation, and reverence for the world around them. This bridge still calls us to step forward, to believe that unity can span any chasm, no matter how deep or daunting. Tests of courage on the sacred path. Before dawn breaks over the Andean ridges, travelers gather at the edge of the chasm, trembling beneath the heavy weight of expectation and possibility. The wooden ladders leading to the Quechua Bridge groan under the boots of curious visitors who dare to step into Inca history. Each footfall on the woven grass deck sends ripples of movement along the cables, reminding crossers that fear and exhilaration are intertwined. Hearts pound as the handrails sway in unison, creak softly, and slip through nervous fingers that seek a firm grip. In the shadows of towering peaks, guides recite ancient warnings in Quechua and Spanish alike, urging caution and respect for the bridge's memory. Some adventurers pause mid-span, closing their eyes to feel the churning currents of the Urubamba River far below. Others forge ahead, chanting encouragement to strangers whose faces are marred by white-knuckled concentration. The crisp mountain air fills every breath, carrying the scent of eucalyptus and rotting grasses from previous rebuilds. A sudden gust can turn calm nerves into a storm of doubt, but these moments reveal the strength hidden within communal laughter. Trained villagers often link arms with visitors, forming a living barrier of confidence to guide each crossing safely. Photographers capture panoramic shots from perches on adjacent cliffs, immortalizing each hesitant step and triumphant smile. Alpine clouds swirl around the bridge, isolating it in a fleeting cocoon of mist and magic. When the last person sets foot on solid ground again, a cheer rises that echoes across valleys, affirming human resilience. For many, this crossing becomes less a daring exploit and more a rite of passage, binding past and present with every pulse of courage. A lone crosser navigates the swaying rope bridge as dawn breaks over the canyon. The Andes are notorious for sudden storms, and travelers on the rope bridge must be prepared for swirling winds and sleeting rain. During a midsummer deluge, the usually placid river can swell into a roaring torrent, testing both the ropes and the resolve of those above. Under a slate-gray sky, guides secure the handrails tighter, instructing crossers to move in synchronized rhythm to reduce oscillation. Those who hesitate risk causing the deck to swing unpredictably, creating a pendulum effect that magnifies every step. Rain slicks the grass fibers, but the disciplined braiding technique ensures that even wet strands hold firm under tensile stress. At times, Lightning splits distant ridgelines, sending pulses of adrenaline through the hearts of all who feel the crackling sky. Parents comfort children on shoulders, and elders chant protective verse, calling upon the apis, the mountain spirits, to safeguard every foot. In one recorded instance, a mule, startled by thunder, charged across the span, its hooves thundering and sending a shockwave through the cords. Villagers rallied beneath the bridge, securing extra lines below with makeshift pulleys, illustrating how the community remains vigilant in times of crisis. Those earthbound teams work in concert with the crossers above, communicating through whistles and yells to maintain equilibrium. When clouds part, a rainbow arches over the canyon, bathing the bridge in spectral color and offering a moment of quiet wonder. Travelers often report a sense of renewed respect for the elements, recognizing that courage is not the absence of fear but its companion. Such crossings under duress become stories told at long tables, where old friends relive the adrenaline and new travelers mark that day as unforgettable. Through storms and stillness alike, the Inca Rope Bridge remains a guardian's threshold, where community bonds hold fast even when the world trembles. In recent years, tourism has brought a surge of interest to the Quechua Bridge, prompting local councils to manage foot traffic and preserve the fragile ecosystem. Ranger guides now issue timed permits for crossing, ensuring that the woven ropes are not stressed beyond their intended limits. Workshops teach international visitors the basics of grass twisting, giving them a hands-on glimpse into Inca engineering and ancestral knowledge. A growing community of conservationists works alongside elders to document each rebuilding ceremony in meticulous detail, recording chants, techniques, and rituals. Universities partner with Andean weavers to study the tensile strength of grass fibers under laboratory conditions, seeking to inspire sustainable architecture worldwide. Some engineers have attempted to replicate rope span designs in contemporary suspension bridges, substituting steel cables for ICHU strands. Yet locals caution that the spirits of the Andes favor grass bridges, reminding outsiders that material alone cannot carry cultural significance. Children who grow up assisting their parents in the annual festival inherit not only skills but a deep sense of belonging. They learn stories of forebears who braved unimaginable heights and harsh climates to keep villages linked, weathering political turmoil and natural disasters. Instructors bring placards and digital screens to illustrate the evolution of the Capac Nyan, demonstrating how exercise of ancient wisdom can guide modern pathways. When the World Heritage designation spotlighted this tradition, international support flowed in, funding safety railings and community centers. Still, the most prized inheritance remains the simple exchange of song, struggle, and sustenance that marks every feast. After the final knot is tied, with each new era of travelers who log crossing experiences online, the Inca Rope Bridge transcends time as a living symbol of human ingenuity. In stepping onto those swaying vines today, we join a lineage of brave souls who remind us that no challenge is too great when a community stands united. Legacy and community in the aftermath. Long after the last traveler has crossed the Quechua Bridge each season, its legacy remains woven into the daily rhythm of Andean community life. Farmers sow seeds in terraced fields guided by the knowledge that resilience is rooted in cooperation, just as the bridge is rooted in braided grass. Families recount once again tales of spanning great gulfs, transferring that courage into markets where potatoes, quinoa, and artisan crafts flow freely. Local schools incorporate bridge building into their curriculum, teaching mathematics of tension and geometry of arches alongside Quechua poetry. Craftsmen who maintain the structure train apprentices in both technical skill and ethical responsibility, emphasizing that every strand represents a human promise. Photographic archives grow with every festival, preserving shifting hues of dawn light on dewy ropes and the laughter of children who run across. Ethnographers study the songs sung during the festival, noting how rhythms correlate with stages of construction and the rising of the Andean sun. UNESCO's inscription as intangible cultural heritage has brought global attention, drawing funding that has improved trail maintenance and safety protocols. Critics warn against over-commercialization, urging that authenticity depends on community agency and not on tourism alone. In response, villagers have established cooperatives that control visitor numbers, ensuring that each crossing remains a meaningful ceremony rather than a fleeting thrill. Simultaneously, modern engineers collaborate with elders to explore how ancient braiding methods could inform contemporary solutions to environmental challenges. Universities in Lima and Cusco publish studies showing that grass fibers can offer sustainable alternatives for small-span footbridges in remote regions. Through these partnerships, the Inca Rope Bridge evolves from a relic into a living classroom, bridging gaps of knowledge and geography. In that union of past and present, we see how community wisdom can transcend time, illuminating paths to new forms of collective endurance. Community members gather in colorful attire to honor the Rope Bridge Renewal Festival. Visitors leave the canyon not only with photographs but with a renewed conviction that courage blossoms when trust flows from one person to another. Couples who once hesitated find themselves venturing forth arm in arm, whispering encouragement when the deck begins to sway. Mountain lodges report guests who shared tales of emotional breakthroughs as they overcame fear step by trembling step. Scientists have monitored heart rates of participants, noting surges followed by euphoria as equilibrium regained. Artists sketch and paint the bridge's silhouette against violet sunsets, celebrating how fragile materials can yield enduring symbols of hope. Meanwhile, anthropologists remind us that no bridge stands alone, it thrives on stories, songs, and the meals shared at festival feasts. During those gatherings, roasted kai and freshly boiled chocho feed both bodies and spirits, while testimonies echo across the canyon walls. Elders speak of their ancestors who risked everything to maintain links between far-flung settlements, enabling trade and unity across unforgiving terrain. In a world too often divided, the vivid image of villagers weaving grass ropes by hand reminds us that unity is an act of creation. Each annual rebuilding ceremony rekindles a sense of interdependence that modern society still struggles to rediscover. It shows that technology without heart can only achieve so much, whereas the unbreakable thread of compassion empowers even the most modest structure. Here, the line between practical necessity and spiritual reverence dissolves, leaving a path across the void that invites believers and skeptics alike. Generations gather to witness every coil and loop, knowing that each fiber speaks volumes about collective memory and shared destiny. In this way, the Inca Rope Bridge teaches us that lasting legacies are not built on solitary giants but on countless hands clasped together. As climate change thaws glaciers and alters mountain weather patterns, the fragile grass bridges face new environmental pressures. Local stewards collaborate with ecologists to monitor grass health, testing whether rising temperatures compromise fiber strength. Seeds from native ICHU grasses are now banked in community-run seed vaults, ensuring that future generations can rebuild with original materials. Workshops explore alternative natural fibers, comparing tensile properties while honoring the traditional methods passed down through centuries. NGOs partner with villagers to teach these sustainable practices in neighboring Andean regions, expanding the notion of communal engineering. Global audiences learn through virtual reality experiences that capture crossing sensations in immersive detail, inviting empathy beyond borders. Yet even digital reconstructions cannot replicate the quiet intimidation felt when standing on a living rope deck. Those who have never felt the wind twist grass cords beneath their feet may still grasp the lesson of unity such bridges impart. Each new span holds promise, demonstrating that communities working in concert can create sustainable solutions that respect both people and planet. In classrooms from Lima to London, the Inca Rope Bridge features as a case study in resilience, design, and cultural continuity. As builders lay fresh cables at dawn, prayers rise in unison with the sun, reinforcing the ancient vow to protect, connect, and endure. The future depends on guardians who understand that true strength stems not from conquest but from careful weaving of collaborative bonds. When you read this story, consider how you too might contribute strands of hope in your own community's bridges. May every knot you tie in the tapestry of human endeavor carry forward the spirit of the Inca Rope Bridge, where courage and community intertwine.